New Zealand is often imagined as calm, welcoming, and fair, a country far away from global chaos, a place where diversity quietly works. But recently, that image has begun to crack. And at the center of that crack is a growing conversation about Indians in New Zealand. This isn't about one headline or one viral clip. It's about what happens when rapid change meets slow planning, and frustration starts looking for someone to blame. Over the last decade, Indians have become one of the fastest growing communities in New Zealand. They arrived as students chasing education, nurses filling hospital shifts, engineers building infrastructure, and small business owners opening dairies, cafes, and service centers. For years, this migration was encouraged. New Zealand needed workers. It needed young people. It needed economic growth. And Indians filled those gaps. But growth without preparation always has a cost. Housing became scarce. Rents climbed sharply. Public services felt stretched. The cost of living kept rising. And when everyday life becomes harder, public frustration doesn't usually aim upward, toward policy failures or leadership decisions. It aims sideways, toward the people you see, migrants. That's when the conversation began to change. Online debates grew sharper. Headlines became more charged. Immigration stopped being about numbers and started being about identity. Then came moments that brought everything into the open. One of the most discussed incidents involved a Sikh religious procession being blocked by protesters performing a haka. To some, it was framed as cultural expression. To others, especially within the Indian community, it felt intimidating, like a message saying, "This space is not yours." That single moment revealed something deeper, how fragile social harmony becomes when people feel unheard, unseen, or threatened. Political language didn't help. Remarks made by senior officials, later clarified, were widely perceived as dismissive toward Indian migrants. Even without explicit hostility, such comments carry weight. Because when leaders sound careless, it gives permission for society to do the same. For many Indians living in New Zealand, discrimination isn't loud or violent, it's subtle. Being blamed for housing prices, being described as job competition, being reduced to a statistic in political arguments. It's the feeling of contributing quietly, but being discussed loudly. And here's the part that often gets ignored. Indian migrants didn't design immigration policies. They didn't control housing supply. They didn't decide how many visas were issued or where infrastructure would expand. They followed the rules that existed. They responded to opportunities that were offered. So when systems fail, blaming migrants doesn't fix the problem. It distracts from it. This isn't unique to New Zealand. History shows the same pattern across countries and decades. Migrants are welcomed when economies need labor and resented when pressure builds. The target changes. The story repeats. What's happening in New Zealand is not about Indians replacing locals or erasing culture. It's about a government struggling to balance growth with planning, and a society deciding how to respond to that failure. Because the real question isn't who belongs. The real question is whether leadership can take responsibility instead of allowing frustration to turn into resentment. New Zealand now stands at a crossroads. It can choose careful policy, honest dialogue, and inclusion, or it can allow fear to define the narrative. And history tells us this much: when societies choose scapegoats over solutions, the damage lasts far longer than the crisis that created it. This isn't just New Zealand's story. It's a warning the world has heard before.